Welcome to Ghoulish Gab. Always spooky, always under 7 minutes. Today we're talking about movies that actually scared us.
Yeah.
Uh,
Woo, woo.
all right, so I guess there's some different definitions of scared. I mean, I've never crapped my pants while watching a horror movie, but I think sometimes the time and place has an effect. So the first one that I want to mention was when I was 6 years old. This might be the first semi scary thing that I ever saw. But there used to be a series of like TV programs or movies that they weren't like super long that were produced by Disney.
Okay.
And they had this one called Mr. Boogedy. And
Never seen it.
it's I don't know what this guy was. He was some kind of boogeyman type thing. It was from 1986. So I saw it on TV when it aired, and I was like 6 years old. And when I kind of researched it, I saw that it had David Faustino and Christy Swanson were the children in it. I didn't recognize the names of anyone else, but that freaking boogeyman guy, he didn't scare me so much as far as after my dad would sneak up on me and this guy would do like some stupid ass like boogity boogity boo. It was corny as shit. But that got me all the time. My dad would just scare me doing that shit. So I think that was the first movie because it creeped me out. I was 6 years old and he was a stupid looking boogeyman.
Okay, this is not on my list, but now I'm going to add it because your story just reminded me. Do you remember the series Are You Afraid of the Dark on
Yeah.
Nickelodeon?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So, probably one of the first things that really scared me, um, that I like chose to watch on my own was the episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark where they had a comic book that gets microwaved and then this clown comes out of the comic book.
What?
And it was a really creepy clown. Like, I'm not generally scared of clowns, but
Okay.
it like when it smiled, it had this huge smile and then like blue ooze like leaked out of its mouth. And it would like they always had it like in the shadows and it had the really creepy laugh. So your story made me so yes, whatever that episode is of Are You Afraid of the Dark? That would be on my list of what actually scared me. Absolutely.
I do want to know why they put the comic book in the microwave, but we'll save that for another time.
Something got spilled on it and he was trying to dry it off.
Okay, fair enough. Kids are dumb. Uh, no, this one, if I were to go watch this movie again, or if I told some people this movie kind of scared me, they'd be like, "You're an idiot." But when the Blair Witch Project came out, this was before everybody had internet on their cell phones, and they totally hyped it up as as it was a real movie, a real experience. And I saw it opening night at the theater in the Mall of America, and I had to drive home right after that. And I mean, I was creeped out during the movie because I kept thinking, I'm like, well, is this really real footage? Like, you didn't know the credits rolled at the end, and I felt, some sort of relief. I'm like, okay, this isn't real. But then that whole drive home, it's all dark, and I'm like by myself, and I'm just like, I just, you know. So that experience, it was a creepy experience. It did scare me a bit.
Understandable. I would probably have been the same, except I get motion sick, so I wouldn't watch that in theaters. Um, 2016's Lights Out is excellent for jump scares.
Mm.
Uh, so it's based on the 2013 short of the same name that also gave me like a massive jump scare the first time I watched it. And I wasn't expecting, it's like not the best movie, and I was expecting it to be. It's not like long-term scary, but it will give you that feeling of like when you're in the house by yourself later, questioning doorways,
Yeah.
like shutting lights off when you're and on when you're in doorways. And so it's not long-term scary, but it does leave you lingering and it I don't startle easily and it definitely got me a couple of times.
The other two movies that really creep me out that I don't need to get into much detail is The Exorcist. I don't remember how old I was when I first saw it, but that movie still manages to get under my skin a little, even though I don't believe in any of that. And then The Fourth Kind. That I don't know
Yes.
why that movie just really hit me. I think I was watching it by myself in the dark, and it was just the right time for me to be like, ah. I was like, looking around like shoulders for aliens for days, and I'm like, ugh.
And it's the same idea as the Blair Witch. They use found footage
Hmm.
and they touted it as this based on a true story thing. So in your head, you're like, okay, they based it. I know it's not real, but they based it on a true story, and they kept making you think that the found footage clips in there were clips from the real interview, which
Right.
can, even if you know better, it'll still fuck with your head.
Yeah, that one got me.
The last things I had that, again, we don't need to get into too much detail. Um, and it's multiple movies. Basically, any of the American remakes of Japanese horror, like The Grudge,
Uh,
The Ring, and Shudder. Oh yeah, I can do. I love the death rattle.
does that thing have a name? What do they call that?
It's called a death rattle.
Okay.
But and the Shudder, which I just watched for the first time recently, it's something about like how suspenseful it is with like hints of what's actually horrifying, but not being outrightly horrifying. It sticks with me every time I watch one of those for sure.
Yeah, that method works. We're just about out of time. Tell us in the comments what movies scared you as a child, as a teen, as an adult, what movies creeped you out, and tell us why we're big babies for being scared of the movies that we are scared of.